Hi, I'm MJ. Thanks for tuning in. Happy to be talking with you today and ready to tackle the subject of sun protection. So, when we think of sun protection, the first thing we usually think about is sunscreen. And that is important, and I will definitely be talking about it. But I just want to remind you that the safest, best ways, I guess, to protect yourself from the sun is to wear a hat, sunglasses, clothing, and/or to stay in the shade. Having said that, clearly it's not always practical, and we do need other forms of sun protection. Before I get on to sunscreen, I want to talk to you about rash guards. And I looked it up because I was suddenly wondering why they're called rash guards. And sure enough, they're called rash guards because they protect you from getting a sunburn or a sun rash. They're made of polyester, just little shirts. You can wear them. We wear them in our family whenever we're in the sun, anywhere around water, if we're swimming, if we're boating. And they come in different sizes and shapes and colors. These two, the blue one and the white one, are from Hannah Anderson. And this is the great thing about having a child who's about to grow past you in size, because I'm going to inherit these. Anyway, they're terrific. And I'll put a link down below to how to purchase these. So the good news is we have sunscreen. The bad news is that not all sunscreen is created equal. There are two kinds. There's the chemical block and the physical block, which is also known as mineral sunscreen or natural sunscreen. The only thing these two types of sunscreen have in common is that they were both designed to protect us from the radiation of the sun. What is it exactly about the sun that damages our skin? Well, there's two kinds of damaging rays. There's UVA, which penetrates to the deeper levels of our skin or the dermis, and then there's the UVB rays, which damage the top of our skin, the outer layer, and that's where you'll see a sunburn. Sunscreens using a chemical block rely on chemicals which absorb into your skin and literally absorb the sun's rays so that they don't damage your skin. I had to write these down because this is a list of the active ingredients from one bottle of chemical sunscreen that I picked up. Homosalate, octocrylene, oxybenzone, that's a really bad one, octosalate, avobenzone, and there's many more chemicals that are used, but these were just the ones in that particular bottle. There are two problems with chemical sunscreens. First of all, the chemicals involved are toxic to human health. Second of all, because most of the chemicals do not block both UVA and UVB rays, you end up with a cocktail of these toxic chemicals in your sunscreen. There's really not much more to say about that, except that thank goodness we have an alternative. And the alternative is the mineral or physical block sunscreens. The way these work is that they sit on the top of your skin and literally block the sun from hitting your skin and therefore protect it. It used to be quite simple to distinguish between a chemical block sunscreen and a physical block sunscreen when someone was wearing them, because the chemical block sunscreen would sink into your skin and just leave that nice little glossy glow, whereas the physical block would stay on your skin. You'd look quite opaque, white. You'd look like a clown or a ghost. It was really clear, that's today's pun, which one you were wearing. But fortunately, the technology has come a really long way, and some companies have done a great job with that, and it's really hard to tell the difference now. I will insert here me putting on a couple of the sunscreens that I'm going to tell you about. There. There are only two ingredients that work as a physical block in sunscreen. Zinc oxide, which is a complete block, blocks both A and B rays, and titanium dioxide, which blocks B but does not block all A. So if you've got titanium dioxide in your sunscreen, you also need some zinc. If you've got zinc, you're good. You don't need any titanium dioxide. Our family has been using physical block sunscreens for about 10 years. But for about the last 4 or 5 years, we've been using one particular brand because they've done such a great job with the non-whitening. This brand is called Green Beaver, and except for once when my husband forgot to put some on his knee and he did get a sunburn, we've never had a sunburn and very little tanning using this brand. As I was preparing to film this video, I actually called the company because I had a few questions about the sunscreen. I spoke with the owner. His name is Alain Menard. Alain answered all of my questions, and I was truly impressed with his knowledge and his concern for the quality of his products and indeed the well-being of the people who are using them. So I want to tell you the exact things that I like about Green Beaver sunscreens, but I made a list, so bear with me while I read it. I didn't want to leave anything out. So it's certified EcoCert, which has to do with the packaging as well as the fact that a significant percentage of the ingredients are organic. It's gluten-free. It's 100% natural in origin. It's never tested on animals. It's biodegradable, GMO-free. Some of them are vegan, which is great, and a lot of people are looking for that, although the screens that are water resistant cannot be vegan because they contain beeswax, which is something that really helps them be water resistant. They're non-whitening, and they also contain lovely oils, including raspberry seed oil, which contains a lot of antioxidants, which help support the skin, and sunflower oil, which nourishes the skin. The other thing about them that is super important is that they are non-nano. And nano has to do with the size of the particles that are in the blocks. Basically, you want non-nano because if the particles are nano, then there's concerns that they might be soaking into the skin of the person wearing the product. The other important thing, which Alain told me about, which I'd never heard before, is that these nanoparticles are also dangerous for the people who are actually making the sunscreen. So here are my two samples of Green Beaver sunscreen. This one is a spray, 27 SPF. I'll get into SPF a little bit later. This one it's non-aerosol, so it does not deplete the ozone layer, which is important. And this one is vegan because it is not water resistant. So if you're driving in the car long distance on a really sunny day, or you just want, general protection, this is your baby. Both of these kinds of sunscreens come in both packaged for adults and children, but frankly, I asked the question and they're the same. So if you don't need to buy separate sunscreen for your child and yourself, except for the baby sunscreen, which I will get to. And this other one is a cream sunscreen, and this is a 40 SPF, and it is water resistant, so it contains beeswax. Green Beaver also makes a sunscreen specifically for babies. It's a 35 SPF, and it's designed for very sensitive skin. It can even go over eczema. Health Canada's position on babies and sunscreen is very interesting. I do not know what the rule is in the US, but in Canada, Health Canada says thou shalt not put sunscreen on a baby before they are 6 months old. Now, they do not distinguish between a chemical block and a physical block. They also, though, say it's okay to ask a medical professional if you might use sunscreen. Green Beaver's baby sunscreen, which again has a 35 SPF, the only active ingredient in it is zinc oxide. So zinc oxide is also used in many bum creams and diaper creams. So I would suggest if you're interested in this, that you might ask your medical professional, your doctor, your naturopath, whoever you see, about using this particular sunscreen. You'll see all this on the site, but Green Beaver also makes an SPF 15 lip balm that comes in both scented and unscented. They also make a 25 SPF face cream, which is non-whitening, but it is not water resistant. So if you're going to go in the water, again, I would just put this on my face. It's a 40, so it's always protective. So what exactly is SPF? SPF stands for sun protection factor, and it measures how well the screen blocks the sun and for how long. Again, I wrote down the numbers because I didn't want to get them wrong. So my research indicates that an SPF 15 blocks 93% of rays. SPF 25 blocks 96% of rays. If you go to an SPF 30, you're now getting 97% of rays blocked. And an SPF 50 blocks 98% of rays. So I would guess this 40 is somewhere between 97% and 98%. And usually, the higher the SPF, the more expensive the product. So that's something to consider also. The interesting thing about SPF for me is that it only measures how well the screen blocks the UVB rays. So if you want to make sure you're being protected from both UVA and UVB, make sure that your bottle says broad spectrum. But again, if you're using zinc oxide, that is a complete block. If you're using titanium dioxide, you need some zinc as well. So how long is your sunscreen protecting you? Well, theoretically, unprotected skin will burn between 5 to 30 minutes. But that will depend on the UV index that day, the nature of your skin, i.e. how fair you are, where you are, what time of year it is, how direct is the sun. There's a whole host of factors if you've been swimming, how well you've dried off. For me, I just follow the manufacturer's instructions. This one, the water-resistant cream, says it will protect you for 40 minutes. So after 40 minutes, I put it back on. If I go in the water, I put it back on when I come out. The other thing I learned while I was researching for this video is that most of us don't wear enough sunscreen. Again, it's ironic because when you used to wear the mineral block, you used to be able to see where it was, but now you can't see as well. So just, slather it on. And toward that end, I know you're going to be using more sunscreen. When I was talking with Alain, he was kind enough to offer you a great discount. I will put the discount code down below, and it's 25% off of Green Beaver products. So I strongly urge you to take a look at them. They are fantastic. That's really what I have to say about sun protection today. I hope you found this video to be valuable. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to watch more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell so that you'll be notified when I upload videos. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks so much. See you next time.